Northumbria Police, I can speak to help.
Hello, my granddaughter's been attacked in the park.
Your granddaughter's been attacked?
Yeah. The man's grabbed her and dragged her in the bushes and had sex with her.
Oh. How old's your granddaughter?
She's 17.
Northumbria Police have received a report that a 17-year-old girl has been raped by a stranger in a local park. Intimate forensic samples taken from her hours after the attack have arrived at the station, ready to be labelled and fast-tracked to the lab for analysis.
Hello everybody, how are we doing? Right, so this obviously is in relation to FWIN number 1135 of the 28th of March. The offence has happened at Nunsmore Park on the 28th, and we think it's between about 2010 and 2030. She has been at home at her grandmother's house. At some stage during the evening, she's gone out for a walk where she's gone to Nunsmore Park, and she's been approached by the offender, who's dragged her into a bush, forcibly raped her.
So she described him as a black Asian male, 30 years old, short black hair, 5'4" to 5'5". She said he was quite built, but described him as more fat than muscly. She said it was wearing a dark blue jeans, shiny blue Adidas jacket with white stripes on the sleeves and the traditional Adidas logo on the back, which is the flower one, which was shoulder to shoulder on the back of his jacket. She says that she doesn't believe that he's ejaculated, and she couldn't expand any more on why she thought that, but that was her thoughts.
Because he hasn't ejaculated, it would be very difficult to be able to get any DNA off that. But we got some advice from John Richards, the CSM, because the medical was within the 12-hour window. We'd send down some swabs, and then they're going to do an urgent screen for semen. If there's semen, then they'll see if we can get a DNA hit.
In a stranger rape case, the priority will always be identifying the offender. The expectation in the very early stages of an investigation is that the presence of semen will lead to a DNA profile. The DNA profile will hit somebody on the database and they can go out and arrest somebody. That is the hope of the investigators. Priority is identifying that offender from something that was left behind after that offence. None of our processes happen within minutes. They all take hours or days. So the faster we start that process, the faster we can get that DNA profile and hopefully get that hit on the DNA database to get that person off the streets and in custody.
Opening up all the fibrous materials, so when you're putting the chemicals on, the chemicals can extract any of the relevant material right from the inside of all the fibres. So you then go through using different chemicals which are designed to clean up the cell pellet that you've got. You've then got an enzyme that you add to it that will digest any of the female cells that you've got in there, so literally you're just left with your semen heads in it and the male DNA that we're looking for. I'm going to centrifuge that, spin for a while.
Do you want to just go through what we found from CCTV?
Yeah, we're looking at the park entrance. There's some CCTV there which we've got really good images of the male who we think, well, it certainly matches the description given by the victim. He's got certainly the jacket, probably got jeans on. He looks to have trainers on just because it's a reflective image to them.
I've got my supernatant solution. I'm going to do a presumptive test on that just to see if there's an indication that there's any seminal fluid or sperm heads present. I'm going to test it with an AP solution. And you're looking for it going purple. So that's looking negative in this case. It doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't any sperm heads. It's just an indication that it's probably low level. So I'd still carry on to the next stage. Make a slide and stay in the slide.
A man's being hunted by police in connection with the rape of a teenager in Newcastle. Officers have released a CCTV image of a man they want to speak to. He's described as being Asian, in his mid-30s, of heavy build, and he was wearing a navy blue tracksuit top. A 25-year-old man.
I'm going to know more in the next hour or so with regards to forensics.
Okay.
Whether there's semen on the swabs.
All right, okay. Good.
So we'll know whether we've got a suspect.
Right.
My particular team have over 100 rape investigations ongoing. I would expect of those would get about 1 to 2 convictions.
Funky for you.
It's difficult crime to prove. The majority of cases we deal with, suspects are known to victim and therefore the issue is over consent. But for stranger rapes, which are rare, it's about forensics.
Hello, Dave Garrity speaking.
Oh, hi there. It's Shelley Hudson from Eurofins.
Hello, Sally.
Hi. We've examined the victim's swabs.
Yeah.
And we haven't found any semen on them.
All right. No, thank you very much for that, and thanks for the work. I know it's your weekend off.
No problem.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Bye-bye.
you.
When we know there's no semen on the swabs and we've lost that potential for early identification, the investigation team have to locate that suspect via non-forensic means.
If the suspect has committed a similar offence before, he may be on the sex offenders register. So the detectives start a search for previous offenders who live in the vicinity of the park.
As soon as the suspect is arrested, it would give us our next best forensic opportunity, which is cellular material transferred the other way from the victim to the offender. So that the pressure is immense to try and identify that man.
Dave's found on the registered list, potential offender, same sort of height and build, previous for assault, female. He works in a food store 6 days a week from 9:30 till 8:30 allegedly, which is obviously just around the corner.
Yeah. So he could have been coming from work.
His most recent arrest, he's grabbed a lass on Lunsmore Road.
I tell you what, it's
him, like,
it's more than just that's more than just a little hunch, that, son. It's definitely more than just a little hunch.
Despite the profile of the sex offender matching the crime, the team have no evidence to tie him to it. So they're doing a house-to-house search in his area to see if they can find CCTV of him wearing the clothes worn during the offence.
So on the right here, that must have been where he's actually gone in. So he's gone in, approached there, and then turned right by the tennis courts. So we'll just go around with.
This is the scene, the crime scene is just here, and hopefully we'll track where the suspect came from. So they're currently on Brighton Grove, looking at private CCTV to see whether we can track the suspect coming into the scene.
Hello, good evening. Nothing to worry about. My name's Gary Cousins. I'm just from the police.
All right, okay.
Have you got 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just an incident happened a couple of days ago where we're just making some inquiries into
All
that.
right, okay.
I noticed you've got a CCTV camera up on there. Does that work, or is that a dummy camera?
No, it does work.
The longer it takes to find their suspect, the more chance there is they will lose any forensic link to the victim and to the crime.
From the moment that interaction occurs between an offender and a victim, the forensic window starts then. We know that offenders will lose physical evidence very, very quickly, from running away, washing clothing, washing hands, washing bodies. And generally we don't see DNA evidence very often beyond 72 hours. So every hour counts.
36 hours after the offence, the house-to-house team uncover what could be a vital lead.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Nicola McGregor,
Yes.
NPT.
Yes.
She's just been on the phone. They've said the neighbour of the suspect is stating that the suspect has a jacket that's the same as the brand we've been looking for. So I'm quite happy that's enough to get him arrested.
Absolutely.
Well, do you want to sort that out?
Yes.
So I think probably get him arrested from the shop and get the CCTV seized.
Yeah.
Hi, Dave.
Hello, boss. I thought you'd want to know. There was a gentleman on the house-to-house unprompted has said the man who living in the area has a jacket just like that.
Really?
So Alan Gibbons is taking his team over to the West End and go and get him arrested. What I've asked for, because we're almost up for the sort of 72 hours for swabs for him, is getting any underwear which could be used, which we may get some DNA from as well.
We're there now. It's food store, so we're going to go in now. Ta-da.
Hello, are you all right?
Hello, right? From the police.
Hello, Mr. Ahmed, are you? Are you Mr. Ahmed? Are you speaking English okay? You understand me, yeah? Okay.
Arresting you on suspicion of rape of a female. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
OK, you're under arrest now. You go to the police station at Forth Banks, where your detention will be authorised, and then we'll interview you later on, OK? Do you understand?
You're under arrest.
You're under arrest.
You and I custody?
Although they have their suspect in custody, the team now have 24 hours to gather enough evidence to charge him. Otherwise, he'll be released.
Sit down there for a minute, that's it. I've been told the circumstances of your arrest, and you've been informed that you've been arrested on suspicion of rape, OK? I'm authorising you to be detained here so we can obtain forensic samples and interview you so we can get evidence by means of questioning. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
OK.
It's just in a holding cell. We're going through the process, but detention has been authorised by Sergeant Chataway. Thanks, Inspector.
Our focus is he's now arrested. What forensic opportunities have we got on him as a scene, so to speak? Are we going to get any DNA of the victim on him?
We would expect that offender to take away DNA from the victim in the same way that we would expect him to leave DNA on the victim. So saliva, blood, fibres, hairs, every contact leaves a trace. Whether we can detect that trace or not is the power of forensics.
As well as the oral and penile swabs, the phone that was recovered from the shop where the suspect works could also yield digital forensic opportunities.
That's
your phone, yeah? It's obviously got your name in the front there, hasn't it? Yeah, after Ahmed. Yeah.
Well, you see a phone and we see evidence. We see a complete record of someone's activity for the time period that we're investigating.
So what's the pin for this phone? Can you tell us what it is? Because obviously we'll need it.
I think he wants to.
When someone says they can't remember the PIN code, I'm afraid that would be difficult to believe for me. There's over 9,000 phones available on the market of different types. Currently, we can break into most phones and allows us to look at stuff that normally you would not be able to get.
Yeah. Anything further on that?
To be honest, at the moment, I don't remember anything.
All right, Kadook.
It's almost a naivety on behalf of offenders where they just don't seem to realise just how much data is held on a phone. And again, we often get people say, oh, well, I've deleted it. Fine, we'll still find it. The fact it's been deleted and you can't find it doesn't mean that we can't. It doesn't mean it hasn't left a print somewhere else in the memory.
The phone will be sent to the digital forensics lab for analysis. But for the investigation, there's one crucial piece of evidence that's yet to be recovered.
The main question is, where is the goddamn clothes he was wearing? We can't identify him as an individual on that camera. How do I prove that's him?
That clothing could be massively important. That could be all we have to prove a DNA link. So that potentially is our next biggest opportunity to sexually link these two individuals.
A team of response officers have been dispatched to the suspect's house to search for the missing clothing.
Hello, it's the police. Could you come to the door, please? Hello, can I come in, please? There's nothing to worry about. We've come to search your house for some items, and your husband's asked me to tell you that he's under arrest and he's at the police station at the moment. We're looking for items of clothing at the moment. Okay? We'll be as quick as we can and we'll be as tidy as we can. Okay, thank you. I'll do this room in here. This is clearly his bedroom, and I'm a bit concerned as to what we're about to uncover in here. We're seizing all items of underwear that belong to him. We're looking specifically for the dark coloured jacket with the gold emblem on the back, jeans, and dark coloured footwear.
At the station, there's been a breakthrough. CCTV from the shop where the suspect works from the Wednesday night that the offence took place.
So that's the suspect that we've got in custody there. And it shows him leaving the shop about 11 minutes before the offence takes place and walking in the direction of where the offence takes place.
So if we find that jacket in his house now, we can match that with the still of the offender who's leaving the scene, and it's as she describes, isn't it? The point we're in the right direction, that we've got the right man.
Hello?
Nicola, it's Alan from the rape team.
Hiya.
Are you having any luck?
I've got some underwear and some jeans, no jacket.
We've got some CCTV.
Yeah.
And it is
him wearing that jacket, leaving his place of work at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're doing the bins in the back
lanes. Is anyone in your office in a position to give Newcastle City Council a ring and ask when the bins were last emptied on the back lanes?
Yes.
We're doing them anyway, but it's just worth a try, innit? What I'm trying to do is make sure we've got evidence, and all the evidence either says he has done something wrong or he hasn't done something wrong. So if there's evidence here that will help him, I need to know about that, as well as evidence that doesn't help him and helps the police's case. So is there anywhere else he goes where he would leave clothes?
He just said that he needs to throw his other shoes off away, and he's left them at work somewhere.
What colour were they?
They were white.
And you think he's left them at work?
Yeah.
When did he last have them on? Do you remember?
Thursday.
So you had them on Thursday?
And you've decided then that Alder needs to throw them away?
Yeah. And a jacket, Adidas jacket, he had that on, and then he says he's left that at work, and he hasn't managed to bring it back from him.
And when did he last have that Adidas jacket
Thursday
on?
morning.
On Thursday, and he hasn't brought it home since?
Yeah.
Right, brilliant.
What did the jacket look like? Can you remember? You said it was black.
Yeah, black with gold, and it had Adidas on the back.
But he hasn't had it since Thursday because he thinks it needs thrown away.
So on Wednesday, what time did Aftab go to work?
That's fine. So, did you see the bag at all? What bag he had? What bag did he bring out of the house? Okay then, that's lovely. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye. That's the owner of the shop where we locked him up from. So he said, you know, Wednesday or Thursday, I took Aftab home because he asked me if he could bring a bag to work to get rid of. I took him home in the van. He went in his house, brought a bag out, but I don't know what the bag was. He put it in the back of my van, and I've dropped him off at home. He doesn't know where the bag's gone.
But if he's been dropped back off at the shop, they've got loads of CCTV which will show what he does with the bag, and it'll probably help us to find the bag. We know that he's aware that his clothing's out in the public domain. He's trying to get rid of it.
It's more sinister and kind of plotting,
Well, it is.
isn't it? They're just looking at, Noddy's looking at the CCTV to obviously track the bin.
Right.
And then they'll get that lifted.
Her account is Wednesday night, he got home at 25 to 9, sweating, out of breath. He told them he'd been running. He's never ever been for a run before after work. He's gone to bed on Thursday morning. He left the house at 25 to past 8, which is unusual because it was so early. He's walked to work, and at 10 o'clock, around about 10 to 10, he's rang and said, I'm coming home for a shower, get me some clean clothes out. He's come in, he's had a shower, he's put the jacket, the trainers and the jeans in a black bin bag and said, I'm going back to work, there's a man waiting for me in a van. And he's left the house.
He goes to work, and that's the last time he's seen with a black bin like that.
So it's at work
So
then?
we'll get rid of the exhibits into the van, and then we'll go and search the...
Yeah, and I'll come up with you. And I'm going to come back.
Brilliant. Either the DM or an email to me, whichever's convenient. Lovely. Thanks again. That was Noddy.
What's he got then?
Well, he's saying the CCTV is really good in relation to him disposing of the bag.
You've got someone who's actively sort of hiding evidence, discarding evidence, destroying evidence. He's aware of sort of the police procedures and policies around forensics. He's covering his tracks, and he's had 3 days on us. So, see the footage? Camera facing this way.
Yeah.
You see him arrive in the van.
Yeah.
Go to the back, get a black bin liner out.
Yeah.
And then start walking down here. We've got it on footage.
Just off camera, isn't it?
Size bit. About
Yeah.
half of that.
It's just literally got the clothes in.
Yeah. Enough for like the jacket. We're going to go systematic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, what we're going to do is just...
Just finish your bin first before we have anything else. We'll just do it one at a time.
He was very conscious of CCTV. Was he
Music.
back and looking at it?
Very was.
Using a pair of trainers. Yeah.
Right.
It's not the rabbit mama.
It looks not it.
There we are. Jackets, jeans,
and
trainers. Well done, everybody. That's awesome.
Just keep it like that. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Actually, I especially done that actually too, because if he's tied it himself, it'll be on the knot itself.
Yeah. Time for season 22-22.
Smoking good, hopefully.
Spot on. Well done, guys.
Thanks very much for your help. Really appreciate that.
It's all strong evidence. It's all strong evidence. We still need to prove penetration's taking place, you know. All the CCTV in the world, he could say it wasn't me.
He could say anybody could have that sort of clothing. I mean, it's unlikely, but he could say it, and we would have to prove that it was him in that clothing that entered the park and it was him that attacked the victim. If we had forensic evidence, it would be, we wouldn't be saying, he wouldn't be able to say, anybody can have my DNA. He could say anybody could wear that clothing.
In the eyes of a jury, if we can get a DNA link,
yeah,
it proves penetration. You know, when in terms of a rape, you want to prove that penetration's taking place.
But with only 15 hours left on the custody clock, sending the recovered clothes for forensic analysis isn't yet an option.
We wouldn't just go blind, we wouldn't just go in and say, look for everything and see what it tells you. We need to decide whether we expect to find body fluids, where the contact has been, where to target. You need to be mindful that every test uses up a significant amount of the material. So we need to think, if we do this test, do we compromise something else we might want to do or need to do further down the line? So in order to determine a forensic strategy for the clothing, it has to be an examination that fits with the information in the case. So what the victim says happened to her, what the suspect is saying, if anything.
I'm showing you pictures now of the very distinctive Adidas black top that you were seen wearing when you leave work on the 28th, just before 8 o'clock. The person entering the park is seen wearing just after 8 o'clock. It's just before this girl was attacked and raped in the park. And the girl says the person who attacked and raped her had that distinctive top on. That person leaves the park just after 8:30 and goes into your street wearing the same top. You have all this stuff on the 28th and you try and hide it all on the 29th. Why? No. It's because you raped this girl in the park wearing this clothing, isn't it? No problem.
Later today, a decision will be made by the Crown Prosecution Service about whether the suspect will be charged with the crime or released from custody due to insufficient evidence.
After up, you come up with us, put your shoes on, come up to the desk, we're getting you sorted out now. Come up with us, we're getting you sorted out now at the desk. Just follow me.
Morning, just an update with regards to the Nunsmore rape. Main suspect, Aftab Ahmed, is in custody. Back shift have interviewed him and he's no replied. Mainly today it's going to be looking at putting the file together, his bad character, looking at ID parade for the victim, and then we'll go to CPS. Any questions? Brilliant, cheers.
We're going to the CPS today with something called a threshold test, where the police are saying, look, we haven't got the whole case here, you know, we believe we've got the right guy, this is what we have, and this is what we're hoping to get. So obviously there's going to be a lot more work now to be done around the forensics. hopefully convince the CBS, yeah, we've got enough to charge, and the scientists can do further work on his DNA profile.
But the team can't rely on DNA alone to get a conviction. The Digital Forensics Unit could also provide vital evidence.
Digital forensics is still something new. It comes in from sort of 90 degrees to normal forensics. It's a very different methodology. There's no chemicals involved, there's no lab coats and things like this. It's because it's very much extracting data that can be used as evidence.
Aftab's phone has arrived at the Digital Forensics Lab for analysis.
So that's the phone. We're looking for web history, any photographs that might be involved in it, audio recordings, voicemail, anything like that.
Can be seen from here that I need a PIN code to unlock it. We're going to use this software. SMG925F, the S6 Edge. So I'm going to take the lock off the phone. Puts the telephone in the download mode so we can install some specific software. This is we'll get the calls, contacts, messaging, social media, his timeline, location data, emails, we'll get his passcodes, account details. You get his whole life history of what's happened while he's had this device. There we are, one handset lock removed. Now we've unlocked it, we've got to get the information off the device. The thing is, the memory on the phones now, this one is 32 gigabyte. It can take anywhere from 2 hours to, we've had them for 18, 21 hours to extract all the data from the device.
We dig into the very core of the operating system, literally the ones and zeros on the memory chips. And we have to be able to interrogate those, and sometimes it just takes time. The data could be compressed, it could be encrypted, and we have to deal with all that as well, which would add additional time. Single phone extraction could end up with a report of over 30,000 pages in length. The big thing is to get the search parameters set and know what you're looking for, because you can't look at everything. It is a needle in a haystack, and we will end up going down a rabbit hole and digging quite deeply to find the artifacts and the little pieces of data that will just prove or disprove the case. You know, the answers that we get are always the truth because the computer doesn't lie.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show how serious we're treating it. You know, what's done to her is awful, and we are going to do our very best to get him put away, you know. And that's the best outcome for her as well. You know, the last thing she wants to do is have him knocking about and sort of walking around.
Dave Garrity is talking to the victim's grandmother about attending an ID procedure.
I realise it's difficult, and she's going to be going through an awful lot of different emotions. But there's no pressure on her, you know, and if she does pick him out, fantastic. If she doesn't, it's not a worry either, OK?
You've been asked here today to see and identify the person that attacked and raped you at Nunsmoor Park, Newcastle upon Tyne, on Wednesday, the 20th of March 2018, around 8:10 p.m. In a moment, I'm going to show you a video film of 9 persons. I want to make it clear that the person you saw in person may or may not be on the video film. There's no limit on how many times you may view the film or persons. I shall then ask you if you can identify the person you saw by stating the number that appears on the screen. Central Safeguarding, Ross Atkinson speaking.
Hi, Ross.
It's Chris from Forth Bank. So you free to speak, mate? Yeah.
Just
to let you know, unfortunately, she didn't pick him out.
Right. Did you pick anyone out at all, or just...
She chose number 6 to have a look at, which is where he's positioned.
So she looked at that, and then the question is the person you saw on that date?
And then she replied, don't think they were there.
Right, not a worry, mate, that's great. Appreciate
I
it.
sent her home and said one of you will contact him. Okay.
Yeah, that's great, Bernsey. Thanks for your time, mate. Okay. Cheers now, bye-bye. Negative.
With no positive ID from the victim and no digital or DNA results available, the team have run out of time. The case file has been submitted to the CPS for a decision on whether the suspect will be charged or released from custody.
If we don't get a charge decision now, she might suggest that we bail him with conditions whilst further inquiries are carried out, perhaps to wait for further forensic work to be carried out around the clothes that were recovered from the bin to see if we can link him or his clothing certainly to the victim. But we'll see. Again, that can be something that could be done post-charge, but CPS might want to do it before any charge decision's made. We shall see. There's nothing to gain by delaying any charge. Ultimately, the only thing that it would be full code other than the forensics.
But we will appeal it. Just to let her know, just to say, listen, we're not going to be awkward or anything, but if there's not a charge, we will be appealing it because he's such a danger.
You want that rape suspect arrested and in custody and charged. But even when I know that I've got really good evidence, there's lots of times you don't get the right result for your victims. And it is frustrating, it's a bit disheartening. But you have to remain positive.
Central Safeguarding, Ross Atkinson speaking. Hello, Helen.
Yeah.
Champion. Super. Yeah, one of my colleagues is going to court. It's Crown Court for a hearing tomorrow. Cheers, Sam. Bye now, bye. Yes. Yeah.
Good job.
Good job, everybody.
You were charged with the offences shown below. The first charge is on Wednesday, the 28th of March 2018 at Newcastle upon Tyne. You intentionally penetrated a woman with your penis when she did not consent and you did not reasonably believe that she was consenting. The second offence is on the 28th of March 2018 at Newcastle upon Tyne. You intentionally penetrated the mouth of a woman with your penis when she did not consent and you did not reasonably believe that she was consenting.
Do you have any reply to the charge?
People think that once you've got a charge, then that's it, job done. You know, we all go back for tea and medals and then it's going to go to court and he's going to be convicted. Absolutely not. It's all very fast-paced at the beginning in those first few days because of the forensic window and all the other evidence that we need to get very quickly to get a charge. But then you start building the case. And that's when the real work begins.
With the suspect charged, the team must now build a case for trial. For the best chance of a conviction, they still need to find forensic evidence of sexual contact between suspect and victim. Head of Forensics Kirsty Potter has called a meeting with DCI Shelley Hudson to decide on the best forensic strategy.
We really want to be able to link him to her.
What about her clothing? When was it last washed? We don't have the luxury of being able to complete forensic testing just in case. We need to target our strategies or we'd overload the laboratories, we'd waste our time and money. And that's the purpose of the forensic strategy, to identify the submissions that are the most likely to progress the investigation. Anything on her matching him is getting you there, isn't it?
Yeah, at the minute, all he needs to say is, it's not me in that park, and we can't actually prove
So
it.
your best evidence is his DNA on her
Yeah.
swabs.
Yes.
Your next best evidence is his semen on her clothing. The next best evidence is his DNA on her samples.
Yeah.
Or her DNA on
Or
his...
her
Anything.
DNA
Anything.
on his. If there's an oral sex and potential ejaculate onto the outside front of her tops, of whatever she's wearing.
She doesn't think.
I know, but she's a
Ejaculate.
traumatised 17-year-old.
No, and I totally
don't
get that.
think we shouldn't check.
No, I would agree.
It wouldn't be something I would be fast-tracking as urgent, but I think we need to know that there's no semen. The whole point of taking the early evidence kits is to
Yeah.
capture that. If they're negative, it's what we expect. If they're positive, bingo.
His underpants.
Are you assuming that the underwear in the bag is what he's wearing at the time of the offence?
I do think that that is his boxer shorts that we've got in the bag, because there's a towel in
You've got
there
a
as
gut
well.
feeling.
Well, there's pants, socks, trainers, trousers,
He'll know
jacket,
what he was wearing at the time.
and towel.
So he's
And they're not smelling of aerial.
Well, I haven't had a smell of them,
No,
to be
well,
fair.
sometimes that's the way to do it. We'll definitely do the pair that's in the black bag, because why would he throw them out?
Yeah.
Her clothing is almost bottom of the list of
Yeah.
expectations, because we don't think he's ejaculated. His boxer shorts, I think you need to do as a priority as well.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with doing her samples before her clothing then? And his boxer shorts?
I'll be guided by you.
Because non-ejaculation cases are always going to come down to YSTR for penetration now.
YSTR analysis is an evolving technique that the scientists are now using on the victim's swabs, which had originally shown up negative for semen. On the basis that without sexual contact, a swab from a woman should only have female DNA present, this analysis will try to pick up on the presence of any male DNA in the sample. The theory being, if male DNA is found in such a sample, it would support that sexual contact took place.
He may be thinking, I didn't kiss her, I didn't bite her, I didn't ejaculate, I haven't left saliva, she wasn't bleeding, I wasn't bleeding, there's nothing they can do to link me. Clothing, maybe he's worried about for fibres. He might be a bit of a traditional forensic nut. He might be thinking fingerprints, fibres, but he clearly doesn't know about YSTR. So now we look for male DNA from the suspect on the swabs. I think everything that the lab tell us we need to consider for a successful outcome is there. We've got the penile penetration. There's no ejaculation, so we are dependent on the length of contact. But really, I would like to think we stand a reasonable chance of getting a result from that. So we wait and see.
Within 4 days, the results of the YSTR analysis are back.
Paul, we've got the forensics, a result of the YSTR on the swabs.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's negative.
Right.
Sally Hill, the scientist, has just putting together a report.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like an early indication. With regards to phones,
I've seen that as a
If you don't find something, it doesn't mean that suspect isn't guilty. It doesn't mean that victim isn't telling the truth about what happened to them. It either means it wasn't there, or it wasn't there in levels that we can detect, or it's so complex in the background that we just can't pull it out. But it's not the end of the line for the forensics.
The final stage of the current forensic strategy is testing for the victim's saliva on the suspect's underwear.
We'll target the inside of his underwear because his penis has been in her mouth. He might have transferred her saliva to the inside of his underwear. There's a whole host of results they can give us that say it's a mixture. She's in there, we take him out, we look at his sexual partner and anybody else who might be on his underwear. It's where the magic of the lab comes in.
Hidden saliva stains can be detected using Fadibas paper. The paper reacts with an enzyme called amylase, which is found in saliva.
This is basically a paper that's lined with starch, and if there's any amylase present, then it should break down the paper and the starch in the paper, and it should turn a different shade of blue. And then I'm just going to put some weights on it, just so there's better contact in the between the paper and the item.
The suspect and victim have no legitimate reason to be in contact with each other, so the impact of finding her DNA on the inside front of his underwear would help us to sexually link these two individuals.
At the digital forensics lab, the data has now been extracted from the suspect's phone, and the process of analysing it has begun.
The offence was done at 2000, so it's 1900 UTC. Then at the time, around when the offence was done, if I look at his web history, he's looked about how long after fingerprints are lifted, the police make an arrest. That's what he's been done a search for, just after the offence.
Yeah, he was leaving a digital fingerprint. You know, he may well have got rid of his actual fingerprint, but by doing what he's doing, he's left a digital fingerprint, which he then just as damning as the original ones.
Now, looking at other things, he's been searching, says on the internet, for teenager jailed for raping school friend. But now he's gone to Sussex Police and he's looking at their website. Man sentenced for a rape of teenager in Horsham, and the Sussex Police there.
It has such an impact when you get to the point where that's the question you've asked of Google or whichever search engine you use. How do you justify that question?
That's the search on Google for the pregnant girls in prison for rape in America. We've got here, rape and abused xxxsexporn.com. He's been viewing the videos, I'd imagine, on there. A couple of days beforehand, week beforehand, anal, virgin anal forced, big bud forced. That's all the searches he's got on Chrome.
Straight after the offence, he's Googled, like, how long do fingerprints last? But then he's also been Googling, go through his history, loads about rape, how to ambush a white girl.
Really?
I think it's close, you know.
I do.
I'd convict.
Well, there's an awful lot of circumstantial evidence around it. Bear in
but
mind,
it's good circumstantial
he's a
evidence.
registered sex offender. We really need to link him to her. Sorry?
What's the timescale on his boxes that were found in the bin coming back?
I don't know, but I think we'll get something. I still think forensically we'll get something back.
I do. Digital forensics has extremely powerful uses in investigations. There is an awful lot more capability with digital searching and the footprints that leave behind, but there'll always be a need for traditional forensics, there'll always be a need for DNA and body fluids to complement that strand of any investigation. But put the two together and you double your power.
This morning, the team are expecting the results from the analysis of the suspect's underwear. Combined with the compelling digital forensics from his phone, a positive result could lead to a guilty plea and save the victim from being subjected to a trial.
clearly, if we get her DNA in his boxer shorts, then there's almost no argument. There is no other way her DNA can be in your boxer shorts if you're not the person who raped that girl. So, fingers crossed we get this positive result today, and it's going to make the prosecution's job a lot easier.
Hello, DCI Hudson.
Oh, hi there. It's Sally Hill from Eurofins.
Oh, hi, Sally. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good, I'm not too bad. I'm better because it's Friday and I'm always better on a Friday.
Oh, absolutely. I've got the results from the underpants, the DNA work we did on the inside front.
Okay.
With no indication at all that there's DNA from her on them.
Oh, dear.
There was no saliva on the inside front either of the underpants.
Okay, then. Well, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Have a good weekend. I'll speak to you soon.
Okay.
Thanks now. Bye.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, fuck. Not great.
No.
Nothing.
Oh. I think we need to have a sit-down, boss, with yourself and Kirsty as well.
Well, they've got nothing else at the lab that they can look at.
No.
That's done.
No. Right.
That's so annoying.
It is. Oh, it's...
There's so much that it's
There
just...
is. It's all circumstantial, but, I think it's, let the jury decide.
It's just that DNA.
Yeah. That would be lovely.
Because then he would plead guilty to get a lesser sentence and she wouldn't have to go
Yeah.
through trauma.
Yeah.
If we had that DNA link, linking victim to offender, I would expect he's going to plead guilty, but we don't. So he's kind of got nothing to lose.
Apparently you're coming back at 4 o'clock to tell me the news.
Yes,
So you can't tell me it.
For him, it'll be might as well plead not guilty and then just let it go to trial and let those 12 members of the jury make a decision about what's going to happen, because either way I'm going to go to prison, so I might as well just give it a go, if you like.
You don't want this girl to have to go through the ordeal of a trial. So, yeah, there would be a disappointment if he decided to go not guilty and he decided to sort of elect to have a trial,
If it's a not guilty plea, then it'll go on for several months to come. And ultimately, when you get to court, you just don't know what's going to happen. You just don't know. Whereas at least with a guilty plea, you know that, for a case like this, the offender is going to come back in a few weeks' time and he's going to go to prison, hopefully for a significant amount of time for what he's done.
Who knows, that the man's clearly a depraved individual in any case, so, you just can't imagine, but if he goes guilty, he's in prison, hopefully he remains there for a long time, and probably the best place for him, given what he's done.
Hi, Paul. How are you doing?
It's gone well. He's put in 2 guilty pleas, so great result. Aye.
Has he really?
Yeah, aye, can't believe it. So I think
Fantastic.
even the CPS were like, this is unusual, but it's like,
Oh, that is
good. Aye, it
fantastic.
is, good
Have we
result.
spoke to the victim yet?
I'm going to ring her now. I've literally just come back from court, so give her a ring and her family a ring. So
I'm like, I'm
so
probably
much
shocked.
because I mean the CBS was saying, you know, the CCTV is quite compelling when you look at it, and then what's on his own phone, you know, he's got a morbid fascination with rape, so maybe sort of that's probably tipped him to think, oh, that's all going to come out. So,
But have we got a date for?
9th of August is the sentencing date, so.
I'm not on holiday then. It's all right.
I know I had to double check, so.
I'm so pleased it's not going to drag out for God knows how many.
Well, that's the main
months now.
thing. She hasn't got to go to court. You know, that's, you know, it's nice for us, but it's better for her, isn't it? She hasn't got to go to court.
Of course it is.
So.
Fantastic.
Right.
Well done.
Cheers, boss. Thank you.
Well
good
done.
team effort. Cheers.
We'll go to court on the 9th. It was all circumstantial evidence, but digital forensics, for me, that was the nail in the coffin, really, for me. If you took that out of it, I think we wouldn't have got a guilty plea.
We've got some excellent news. He's gone to court today and he's pleaded guilty to that attack on you. Fantastic. So basically that means you don't need to go to court, you don't need to give evidence. He's pled guilty to sort of obviously both counts of sort of what he did, and he'll be sentenced. Sort of the judge is going to sentence him, and then clearly he's going to go to prison for what he's done. So, but basically, well done for what you've done. You know, you've obviously sort of been very brave and coming forward, and you know we've asked a lot of you, so you know, well done.
There are many crimes that would never get solved if forensics wasn't there. We can't ever be without it. We have to have it. It's absolutely vital. However, it'll never be without challenge. It'll never be without frustration. There will always be those days, though, where you're reminded why you come into work. Because you get that call, or you see that headline, or you hear that court verdict, and you know that part of that is down to what you and your team have done.